Morning. You know, I've never had such a hard time getting ready for a sermon. Seems like my heart's not in it, but maybe the good Lord will bless me anyway. You know, we have to gird up. We have to be ready for anything, and we can't let what happens in our lives turn us away from God. Has been a long 3 weeks for me. I don't know if y'all know it or not, but me and Ruth have been separated for that long. It's hard, but you know, we have to go on, and we have to find God in all these times of trouble. We can't give up. You know, in God's plan of things, you have to believe that He knew that men would be sinful. When He brought the flood on the waters, He said that their hearts were continually evil. And that's what we have to fight against. This whole world is continually evil. It hasn't changed. 1,000 years after He created man, somewhere out that, He had to destroy the earth, except for 8 people. And it's getting close to the return of Christ. We have can y'all hear me back there? Am I talking loud enough?
It's good.
I'll turn these off, talk a little louder. We have a loving God, and He gives us a choice. He gives us a choice to live or die. We everyone have that choice, and that's what we keep looking for, is to make the right choices if we're living for Jesus Christ and for God. Well, I just want to talk about girding up the mind, gird it up. In 1 Peter 1:13 it says, "Whereas gird up the loins of your mind, be sober and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought to you by the revelation of Jesus Christ." We have to stand steady to the end of however long our life is. We can't let our disappointments in our family and anything in this world deter us from that. We have to be ready. You know, he's telling us, put our mind in subjection, not to be like those people 4,000 or 5,000 years ago when God flooded the earth, not to be like Sodom and Gomorrah. They didn't have their minds on the rock, on the God of creation. They had it somewhere else. The world is that way today. We just seen on television the other day where this man killed 9 people in church. All we see on TV, you cannot watch TV. You can't even watch a TV commercial anymore. I mean, there's nothing good on there but sex and violence. The more murder and the more sex they have, the more it's watched. And that they proved that. If you make a good, decent show, no one will watch it. They send their kids to school and they teach them that homosexuality is just another way of life. It's okay. Everybody's okay. You can do that. That's what they teach them in school now. Now they got this transgender. If you don't agree that what's his name, Caitlin, if you don't agree that he can be a woman, you're out of the mainstream. Everybody says, oh, that's great. Well, we don't have to agree with that. We don't have to agree with what the world teaches about homosexuality. We don't have to agree with that, and we can't. We have to stand for what the Bible teaches us. So we have to gird up our minds. We have to not let this world lead us, but to try to lead the world to a better life. You know, Satan is... he's the ruler of this world now. Jesus Christ said that 2,000 years ago. We can't keep on going much longer in this world. America needs a heart transplant. The world needs a heart transplant. But I don't expect a lot of people to turn to Christ in these end days. Some will, but the harvest won't be that great. We've got to live for him now. If we're going to be in that end time, we're going to be resurrected. We need to live now for that day. Peter says judgment begins at the house of God. And if the righteous scarcely be saved, how are the wicked going to be? So, I'm not happy with the way my life is going right now, but I still have that hope. That's all I can cling to. Just like that song. We know that he lives. And if we know that, we know that our future is secure. Romans 12:1-3 tells us that, I beseech you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. We're not to conform to the world, but be transformed by the Spirit of the living God. We're supposed to take this book and believe it and read it and study it and grow with it, and not let the world lead us around, not to be changed by every wind of doctrine, as the Bible says. And there's a lot of doctrines out there. Today, people don't want to hear the truth. They want to hear fables. They want to do things that not even in the Bible. They believe doctrines that are really an abomination to God. So we have to be transformed. We can't do anything but become that living sacrifice for God that he says is our reasonable service. It's what we should do. It's reasonable that we should do this because he has saved us from the sin that we lived in. The Bible says all sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and without Jesus Christ and accepting his sacrifice, none can live. So yeah, we're saved by grace, and that's true. We're saved by grace and grace alone because all have sinned. But that doesn't give us a license to keep on living in that wallow that we lived in before. We have to come out of it. We see all this evil in the world today, and people, well, if there's a God, how can this happen? Where is he? Where's God? Why does he let people in churches be killed? Why does he let kids be kidnapped and murdered? What is all this evil going on? Where is God? Well, God is a gracious God. He's a loving God. And you know what? He's not going to make anyone do anything. Jesus says he stands at the door and knocks. He's not going to kick it in. You've got to open the door. That's what the world has to do, is open the door to righteousness and close the door to sin and the devil. Evil comes from God. In Isaiah 45:7, it says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. There's nothing in this world that God didn't create. The reason he did this is, I believe, he could have created a world without any choices. He could have created us and not give us any choices. We could be just like the angels. Said the angels couldn't sin. They couldn't sin because the angels don't die. If they could sin, they would die because the wages of death is sin. I don't believe that story that Satan took a third of the angels out of heaven. I don't believe that. I think he took a third of the messengers on earth, maybe. The messengers today are in this world are ruled by Satan. We have them in the churches everywhere. But God created that. He says in John 8:44, It says, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning. He wasn't a fallen angel. He was a murderer from the beginning. And the truth, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Satan was never good. Jesus said he was a murderer from the beginning. He's not a fallen angel. He was created that way. John 3:8 says, he that committeth sin is of the devil. 1 John 3:8, for the devil sinneth from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of God was manifested, he might destroy the works of the devil. And that's what he did when he died on that cross for our sins. All those works are gone. But we can still follow Satan if we want to. He didn't take that away from the world. He just made it where our sins would be forgiven and we could live. John, it says in James 3:12 through 15, and the fig tree, my brethren, bear olive berries, either vine, fig, so can no fountain, both yields salt water and fresh. Who is a wise man endued with knowledge among you? Let him show out the good conversation of his works, with meekness of wisdom. But if ye have bitter envy and strife in your heart, glory not, and lie not against the truth. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, and devilish. God tells us that the book of James tells us that God has given to the poor to be rich in faith. Where are all the wise men in this church? Where are the millionaires in this church? We don't have very many. We don't have any wisdom as far as worldly goes. We have wisdom according to God's word, because we follow his word. We have to be careful when we're around the rich and the worldly wise and not to follow them. The first sin, Adam, Eve looked, and it looked good, tasted good, and she wanted it to make her wise. And so the first sin come about. James 4:4-7 says, ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is an enemy of God. Do you think that the scripture saith in vain, the spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy? But he giveth more grace, wherefore he says, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace to the humble. Submit yourself therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. We have to have that mind in us that whatever comes at us that we know is not in the Word of God, that we resist it and we flee from it. We ask, why did God let this happen? Why did he create us to end up the way the world is today, to destroy it 1,000 years after it was started? I think God did it because he wants a family. He wants a family that loves him. He wants a family that chooses him, that chooses his ways, that follows his ways. And if we don't have that choice, we would just be a bunch of robots. And we're not robots. We have that mind, we have that choice. We can think, we can work things out. But we can't do it if we're proud, too proud to bow before God, too proud to accept his ways. We got to get rid of our pride. We got to get rid of anything in our life that wants to pull us down, that wants to hold us back, whether it's family, friends, job, whatever it is that keeps us from doing His will. We need to get rid of it. You know, we tell them that we follow God because we love Him. He's pleaded with us the last 6,000 years to follow Him, to follow truth. He's been pleading with man. But mankind is listening to following a different power, following their own hearts. It says in the ways of man leads to death. So we can't follow our hearts. We have to follow what Jesus, God, puts in our hearts. And He'll do that if we ask Him. 1 Timothy 3:1-4, when the world turns from God, things can only get worse. Well, that's not it. I'm sorry. That's where I want to go to. I don't think I have that scripture down. 1 Timothy 3. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. We have to turn away from the people today that want us to follow their ways. And, you know, we lose where we're at and we lose who we are and start following the things of the world. We're just going to be lost. We're not going to stand on that last day when Jesus calls our names out of the graves if we're dead. We won't meet Him in the air. We have to stand, we have to walk in His Word. So we have these values and they're all in our book. They're all here. We need to follow them. You know, God is atheist. There was an atheist or someone asked Billy Graham's daughter, I forget now just who it was on the news, I believe. He was an atheist. He said, well, if there's a God, why does He allow all these bad things to happen? She said, well, God is a gentleman. We've been kicking Him out of America. We took God out of school. 65, they took prayer out of schools. They started killing their babies in 73. He said, he's a gentleman. He's not going to stay where He's not wanted. He's not going to protect a country that doesn't want Him. He will protect His people. He promises that. But our country has gotten so far away from God. I don't know how many million babies have been killed since 1973, but that's why we're having all these problems. I think God is already judging the world with these hurricanes and earthquakes and fires, and it's going to continue. It's going to continue until things change. So we have a God that is fair. He's going to give us what we want. He gave us Barack Obama twice. I couldn't believe that. Amen. I mean, twice. He gave it to us because people voted for Him. You know, I can't believe people did that, but they did. And they got what they deserved. America gets what they deserve. You know, in the Old Testament, they wanted a king, so He gave them Saul. and they got what they wanted. God is He's gonna give us what we want. Somehow we've got to remember what Romans 8:28 says and believe it. We all know what that says. It says, Romans 8:28, quote it for me.
All things work together for good to them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose.
Yes, all things work to the good of those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. We have to believe that and know it in our hearts. And we may have bad things happen to us, and everything may not be rosy, but we have to hang on the promises that he gives us. Thank you.